Die
Okay.
Hard, pay attention. I'm here today with Anthony Iannarino. He is one of the smartest people I know, let alone a great sales guy and a great writer.
Wow. When Jeffrey Gitomer says you're a great writer,
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. I just bow in your direction, sir. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. He has a new book out called The Negativity Fast that almost made it on the Wall Street Journal bestseller list, but they eliminated the list.
I wonder because if it was you or me that
It was
caused
probably
that.
me. It was probably me. I am known at the Wall Street Journal as kind of a dick, but I accept that.
They just don't have a good sense of humor.
But the challenge is this is actually a good book. And the reason I'm interviewing Anthony today, I have a few things that I want to talk to him about in the book. But more important, I want you to get the book so that you can have an understanding of where negativity comes from and how you might be able to expunge most of it. You'll never get rid of all of it because there's always going to be an asshole. But if your glass is half full of positive things, you're in way better shape than if your glass is half full of negative things. I'm just throwing it out there for your listening pleasure. So, ladies and gentlemen, the great Anthony Iannarino.
Thank you for having me on.
The
It's
bald,
always good to
the
see
bald
you.
Anthony Iannarino. The white bearded Anthony Iannarino.
You got a little bit of white there.
I do. It's all white. I just shave it off. You know, I haven't shaved since 1976.
Really?
Fully shaved? No,
Hmm.
not even close.
I was at Outbound the year that you were there, and I started to grow this. And my wife said, "I really like that," and I was like, "Really?" And then I realized like she's trying to cover up as much of my face as she could. So that's what I think it was really about. She's like, "We should try to cover up most of this."
So, as you, I don't mean to be self-aggrandizing here, but in 2008, I wrote the little gold book of Yes Attitude because I was tired of reading bullshit about positive attitude that was not accurately conveyed or portrayed. And you can't just think you're going to be a positive person. You can't just wake up and be in a good mood. There are things that you go through in your life that will lead you to that point where all of a sudden you got it. How did you shift from waking up in Ohio when it was 3 feet of snow out or wherever you were living at the time and transform yourself from a basically negative person to a basically positive?
Oh yeah, yeah. So I'm like, if you want a case study, I am one. So
Yeah.
my dad left when I was 6 years old, so I had that trauma. I was bullied. I started getting bullied at 3. I waved at the kid that lived behind me in Dearborn, Michigan, and he threw a rock and scarred my head. Like I'm 3, and so then appendectomy, being beat up by 4 guys. After I got beat up by 4 guys, my dad, who had left, he came back and he got me, and we went and got my brother, and then we went back to the house where the 2 guys that were still outside were outside. And he said, "You're going to go out and you're going to fight those guys." And I've said, I'm more afraid of my dad than I am of these guys. So I
Yeah.
got out of the car. That was like hillbilly justice. By the time I was 25, I was living in Los Angeles. I had a grand mal seizure walking up the steps to my Brentwood apartment. And the interesting thing about having a seizure is you're the only one that doesn't know you had a seizure.
Yeah.
Everybody else saw it happen. I had 2 brain surgeries, one where they took this group of arteries and veins that grew into a knot, and they filled it full of an epoxy so that there wouldn't be a lot of blood. And then I had another surgery the next day where they opened it up, they removed it. And when I woke up, they said, by the way, your brain was bruised, so we had to cut off the back part of your temporal lobe. I mean, they never told me that was even a possibility. Like there was no
Yeah.
conversation about it. And I'm like, what? We did
Right.
what? And they said, if you wouldn't have done that, like you would have seizures for the rest of your life. So we removed it. Then I went to college at 26, even though I tried to drop out of high school every day. I was so
Yeah.
bored at school, I couldn't handle it.
I waited to drop out till I got to college, but keep going.
Yeah. I was a political science major. So all I did was argued with people about politics all the time. And because I was a libertarian, I could fight both sides. So there's always somebody to have an argument with, right? Then
Hmm.
I got a dean's academic scholarship to law school, another political environment. And so I was the libertarian. So I was always in constitutional law, people saying, like, why would you disagree with the Supreme Court? And because there's a lot of things to disagree with some of
Yeah.
their judgments.
They even
But
disagree with each other.
yeah, my mentor there was a guy named Mike Distelhorse. And one day I came in and I was complaining. You might remember this. I don't know. You could not remember this, but I remember it very well. Clinton signed a bill for a retroactive tax rate increase. So we all paid our taxes. And then in the next year, he decided, no, you owe us more money. And he signed that. And I was just miserable about that. And Distelhorse said, listen, you can't do anything about this. You can't do anything about government. There's nothing for you to do. You're always worried about these things. What you should do is take care of your children the way that you want to. And if you're worried about if you're worried about money, just outrun the bastards. Just make more money.
Yeah.
And then he said, look, you're really angry and you should stop that. You should just let all this go. Like, you're really unhappy about it. And I wish I would have taken his advice because I was like, no, I was not ready for that at all.
Yeah.
And
Keep
then
going.
about 6 months later, I was like, I'm really angry. I'm an angry person, and I didn't want to be angry, and I didn't want to be negative. So I got rid of all of TV media altogether. I got rid of every magazine that was political. I got rid of all of my books, and I decided that I was going to do that for 30 days. And then at the end of 30 days, I felt so much better. I was like, why would I stop doing this? It feels better. I'm not watching anything negative, and I seem to feel a little bit better. But I made a mistake, and I had to do another 30 days. And I would ask you to do 30 days if you are really trying to feel better. One of the things that people ask when I say something like that is like, how do you know what's going on in the world? All the negative people tell me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They make sure I know.
Yeah. When I was traveling almost every day, I would drag my bag over the top of the USA Today and just look down. And that gave me a kind of an oversight of, what's going on. All right. So
Nothing good.
yeah, let's go into this.
Oh, you got pages you marked. This is serious.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask you to, but I'm not going to ask you to quote verbatim, but you're going to understand what I'm talking about. People complain about Monday.
Yeah.
Some woman wrote a book on Thank God It's Monday. She was trying to, go the opposite way. But for the most part, people go out and party on the weekends or do things on the weekends that they really wish they could do all the time. And then go back to what we might refer to as the daily grind.
Yeah.
If you're in the daily grind, you're in the wrong job.
Yeah.
I mean, you might be in the wrong family. You're in the wrong group of friends, because if all weekend is drink and smoke dope or worse, you have a problem. You're not happy on the inside, and you're trying to ingest all that shit in you to make you feel a little bit better, when in fact, if you don't quit that, you're going to feel way worse being dead. Or maybe you won't feel anything at all. I don't know. But look at the people that love you that are going to be left behind.
When you look at the lifespan of an American, it's coming down. It went up for a while because people stopped smoking, but now we got fentanyl and suicide. So the number's going down. It's 78.2 years. That's 4,108 weeks that you have. I looked last night. I'm at 1379 remaining if I get to 90. And I think I will, because I'm not on fentanyl and I have no, I'm never going to kill myself. I like this so much here.
Yeah.
But when you start to realize how short a life is, then you start to realize, let me ask you a question. You like dogs?
Love dogs.
I love dogs too. They're great, aren't they?
Yep.
Yep. You ever have ice
Loyal.
cream?
I love ice cream.
Of course you love ice cream. How about pizza?
Love pizza.
Bagels? I know you eat bagels because at
Yep.
5 o'clock in the morning you woke me
Yep.
up and we had to go get bagels.
Exactly.
It's great here, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, there's really nothing to complain about because for the most part, if it rains, the rain will stop eventually.
Yeah.
And the sun will come out. It's
Then if somebody's really stubborn about this Monday thing, then I go into like, you might have 1,379, but how many Mondays do your mother and father or your grandparents have? Like, you need to start thinking about Monday a whole different way.
Yep.
If it was your last day on earth and it was like, you can only stay here, but every day will be a Monday, you'd be like, sign me up. Mondays are
Right.
great.
Exactly. Love
I'm
fucking
signing up for that.
right. So
But we complain about it, even though there's nothing to complain about.
yeah, I um wake up many days and I don't know what day it is because I don't care what day it is, especially when I'm traveling. If I'm in, I was in Paris for July. I had no idea what day it was and didn't give a shit. Well, actually, I knew Saturday because all the Jewish stores were closed. That's the only way I knew what day it was. Oh, yeah, it must be Saturday because I don't care. Okay, so there's some other things in here that I want to talk about. Turning on music to reframe your negative shit.
Yes.
I'd like to take this deeper. I go back to the music that I grew up with because that will immediately create a memory.
Mm-hmm.
There's I hate to admit this to the group, but Diehard, if you're listening, I want you to go back to your youth and play 5 of your favorite songs and see if one of those 5 causes you to become emotionally engaged to the point of tears.
For me to get into that state,
Yeah.
it's exactly what you said. So when I was 13, ACDC released Back in Black album.
Yeah.
And I got that album and I learned how to play a number of the songs when I was a kid. Like I was probably 12 or 13 at that time.
Yeah.
I can go right back there. I can
Yeah.
just go right back. I can remember everything that I was doing. I get all of it. It comes rushing in. It's wonderful. So if I'm in a really down mood, I probably go to the next album, which was For Those About to Rock, We Salute You, which is just an unbelievable anthem song. And if you can't get up on that one, then I don't know what to tell you. Like that's just something that's so powerful.
I'm a big believer in the science and combined with the luck of creativity. And when ACDC performed It's a Long Way to the Top If You Want to Rock and Roll, I couldn't tell you on that live version where they're driving through town, is it a Scotland town or is it an Australian town? And the answer is I have no idea. But they introduced bagpipes into rock and roll with that video.
Yeah.
That changed everything. And because I'm a rocker, I look at that and I go, look what these fuckers did. They're unbelievable. They killed it. And they were broke. Like they had to rent a truck to go around town to sing their song.
Yeah, I was a dead ringer for Bon Scott when I was a kid. Everybody who would want to do rock and roll, they would say like, come and join us on stage and let's do a whole set. I knew every song. I knew all of Highway to Hell, but you probably don't know what Highway to Hell was really about. But I will tell you, I will educate you on it. It is not, it has nothing to do with hell.
People going to New Jersey on I-95.
It's very close. When they were in Australia and they would have to go from east to west, the sun is low and it's just burning you in the car. So that is actually what that's about. They called that highway the highway to hell because it was just so hot and they were going to be in a car, all these guys with their gear. I know what this is like. It's not very good.
No, but I'll tell you, they made a mark. And when you see a video of them at a concert, everyone is swaying and everyone is singing every note to every song by heart.
Yeah, it's that
And
kind of band.
Angus knows exactly when to lose his hat. I mean, they're so good. They're so tight and they're having so much fun. That's
They're
the
getting
whole
up there, though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, everyone's getting up there.
Hopefully. I mean, yeah, some people don't get to.
Some of their members. Bon Scott is an example.
Yeah.
But some people die and then some people kill themselves.
Right.
He was the latter.
Yes.
So I want to talk about how other people can put music into their lives that will help them adjust their thought process. And this is fucking nuts, Anthony. There's a rock and roll group, an old early doo-wop group called the Chantels.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And they sing Maybe. And there's one video where they do it live in Pittsburgh when Arlene Smith comes back and she does the revival of the song to this group of oldie people. I cry every time. Every time. Because it's just so good. And then if you really want to go back to any Letterman show on the day before Christmas when Darlene Smith comes, anyway, yeah, I think it's Darlene Smith, comes out and sings the Christmas song. Oh, Darlene Love, sorry. When Darlene Love comes out and sings that song, it's unbelievable. And every year they up the production. It's snowing, the saxophone's playing an extra long, but it's unbelievable. But I grew up with that song.
Yeah.
But that's a song from the 60s.
I do have to criticize a little bit. So far, I've not seen any evidence that you've grown up. I'm just saying, like, yeah. He says, like, I grew up in Philadelphia, and I'm like, you've not grown up anywhere. I don't. Well,
the key to my process is the Woody Allen quote of "You're only young once, but you can always be immature." And so I've sort of lived by that for an extended period of time.
That's why I love you for that. For that exactly.
I think that people don't understand the value of their own study in order to be able to get into a better frame of mind.
Yeah.
Not a better mood, not a better mindset, a better frame of mind. Because I think that defines it a heck of a lot easier for me.
Me too.
There's one other thing that I want to talk to you about in the book. And that is, well, maybe two. When you go to the dog kennel and feed all the dogs, I think that is just phenomenal.
It's I don't know if I'll just give you the story on this so people can hear it.
Please.
I'm like a bail's bondsman for dogs. So I'm like, they're locked up, they're by themselves in these cages, and I love dogs so much, like you do too. Like, we love dogs. So at the end of the year, I normally go in and buy all of the dogs that they have. So it's normally like 9 or 10 dogs, and maybe they're a couple $100s to take care of them. So I come in and I do that, and I've done it for a number of years. But the last time I did it, they just said, "Can we keep the money?" And I said, "Yeah, I don't care what you do with the money." And they said, "Well, we've got some dogs that are going to need real training, and it's really expensive for us." And I said, "Do them whatever you want to do with the money. Just go ahead and take it." And then they brought one of those dogs out to me. It's a giant white pit bull, very aggressive dog, like just wants attention. And it's like sitting on my lap because it's a dog, right? It wants to get close to somebody. And they took a picture with me and they put it up on their website on Facebook. So they've got a picture of me with this, and it says, "This angel came in and gave us this money and this thing and that thing," and it had all these things. And I was like, wow, I mean, that was really nice for them to do that.
Yeah.
One day later, some woman, must be a rich woman, she saw that on Facebook, and she came in and she literally paid for all of the cats in a humane society. Oh, so that had to be like 46,000 cats. Like, I have no idea how many. There's so many. And then 2 of my friends saw it on Facebook, and they said, you can just go in and buy the dogs and you don't have to take them. And I said, of course they're going to take your money. Just go in. And then two of my friends went in and bought two more dogs and gave them money. And so it just kind of kept going for a little while. And why not? Like,
Yeah.
if you want to feel good, go do something for someone else, or for dogs, or for cats, or for homeless people, or go get to a pantry and bring them food. Any of those things, I promise you, you will not be thinking about yourself at all when you do that. Like, you have no concern for yourself. It's all just giving to somebody else.
So that brings me to the last part of random acts of kindness. But let's go back to dogs for just a second. My daughter, Erica, is a rescue person. So she rescues little wiener dogs. And she's got a half a dozen at her house at all times. Some are for foster, some she keeps, some she's got, but half a dozen dogs in a household is a lot.
That's
But
a
they're
lot.
but they have short legs and they can't go very fast, and that lot. And they're typically senior citizens, the ones that she rescues, because no one wants them anymore. And she feels bad for them and she cries when they pass and that kind of thing. But it's fulfilling for her.
Yeah.
I mean, she's involved in, if you go to her Facebook page, Erica Gitomer Abrams, probably, she'll get 50,000 comments when she does something.
Wow.
I mean, she's like known in that world, and it makes her feel great. She's fulfilled for what she does for animals.
Yeah.
So let's talk about random acts of kindness that make you feel good more than the person that randomed. When I go to the airport, no matter what, I give the sky cap $20. No matter what, one bag, no bag, I don't care. Boarding pass, $20. And they know it because I've been doing it for 25 years. So it's a fight to get to me because they know I'm 20. It's the same fight on Thanksgiving when there's 250 people waiting to check their bag. I'm next. So think about what random act of kindness does in the mind of the other person, but more importantly, think about what it does for you.
Yeah.
How good you feel and how free you are when you just help the other guy out, even if it's just holding a door.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to always involve money, but it's kindness.
But the other story that I have in that same chapter is when I went to dinner with my wife and a daughter, and she was a young kid, and there was a homeless guy that was standing outside of a Starbucks. You could hardly see him because it was so dark out, and he was dirty. And I asked my daughter, like I said, give me my wallet. And she gave me the wallet. I only had like $80 with me. I just got back from a gig, and that's all the cash I had left. So I handed it to my wife and I said, give him this money. And he did this. He went like this and turned around because he didn't want us. Yeah, he didn't want us to see us counting, what he got.
Yeah.
Like it mattered. But he turned around, and then he turned around and he yelled, I can go home. I can go home. And he took off running. And my little daughter said, how do you know that he's not going to buy drugs or alcohol? And I said, I don't have any way of knowing that.
Right.
And she said, then why did you give it to him? And I said, because I can. I can give it to him. I'm not missing it. Whatever he does with it, that's his decision after that. Maybe he is going home. I have no idea. And she was struck by this idea that I'm supposed to control this guy and give him money to try to control him. That's not how it works. The guy's, he's drenched. He's dirty. He doesn't have anything. I have something. I hand him the money because that's what you do. I started doing that in LA when I was a kid out there playing rock and roll. When you see people and they're in that sort of thing where they're so dirty because they've been on the street for so long. I mean, why wouldn't you give them money?
Right.
For me, easy.
Die hard, pay attention. There's chapter 12.5 in the Little Red Book of Selling is resign your position as general manager of the universe. You can do it randomly on occasion, but you can't do it every day for the rest of your life to give away all of your money.
Right.
You meet people and you take your shot with them for whatever the deal is.
Right.
And you leave. And maybe it's no money, maybe it's $5, maybe it's $20, maybe it's $100, but whatever it is, you do it so you feel good, not just the other person feeling good.
It's called helper's high. And I never knew that there was such a thing. I wondered if I had to get a card to be able to have a helper's high or not.
It's a club.
I'm not sure.
It's a club. Yeah.
The first time I went to South Africa to speak, I was staying at a place. When I walked in, they said, "There's the panic button should you need it." And I was like, "Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Now I know where that is, and I know that I might need it." Everything's, and they said, "Don't go for a jog. Don't leave at all unless somebody takes you somewhere." So I had these people taking care of me, and when I got there, I was sick. And I said, "Can you go get me a couple bottles of water? And then could I ask you to iron these shirts for me?" And this woman went and she got the water, and then she took care of my shirts for me. And I had $2,000 on me. So I have $2,000 with me. I have nothing to buy while I'm there. You know this because you travel. Like, what are you buying? Maybe books. That's it, right?
Right.
After
Or
that, nothing.
maybe a shirt or a hat to remind myself that I was there.
So as she gives me the water and the shirts, I give her $40 US.
Yeah.
And she started crying. And I'm not understanding like what happened. And now she's crying. But that was so much money to her.
Yeah.
I thought, when I leave here and I'm going to the airport, I might kill her with what I'm going to leave her. I'm like, I don't know how much. But the whole time I was in South Africa, that first time I was at Joburg in Cape Town, I made every person do things for me. So a guy would come and say, "Do you need anything?" And I didn't need anything, but I'm like, "Can you go get me like 4 bottles of water and 2 oranges?" They take off running, come back. I get to give them some more money. And I left the whole 2,000 with all those people. I had nothing to buy there. I was just working. And I thought, how amazing is that you can do this and make people just feel so happy because they got something like that when it'd be hard for them to do it where they live.
That's crazy and good. That's crazy and good. Yeah, there's so many times that I've done little things for people and you don't realize how much of an impact it makes on them. But they will come and thank you and tell you if it was significant. Especially when
I thought you were like fishing for me to say thank you for helping me with the book and all the other things
no,
that
I
you've
was
done
not
for
fishing.
me. No.
I don't fish. But I can tell you in Cuba, where the average person makes $30 a month, and you give them $10, it's like 2 weeks' pay.
Crazy.
It's nuts.
Capitalism's pretty good, isn't it?
Capitalism works for me.
Me too.
But it has worked well for me and my family and my family's family. So we're 4th generation capitalists, having come over on the boat in the 1900s when we were being excommunicated from Russia, actually the Ukraine. But the challenge for you, diehard, if you're listening to this and you're wondering, okay, what can I do? And the answer is obvious. You do what's right in front of your face. You don't have to go searching for it. It's there. It's the guy waiting on the corner with a little sign that says, "I need help. You know, I'm homeless and I need help." Just give him $2. Are you going to miss the $2? And then
No way.
let's see who feels better, you or them. And maybe you'll have like a $2 bill collection that you have in your glove box or in your coffee cup holder. And every time you see one of those guys, just roll down the window and give him a $2 bill.
Yeah, more people should carry. I mean, they don't have like a swipe for you. Like you have to have cash on you. Carry cash with you now that you know.
They don't have credit cards processing machines.
No, they don't. I've checked this. I'm doing.
But I'll tell you this. Look at the number of businesses that say no cash now. They won't take American money.
Crazy. I'm allowed to have sugar one time a week. It's Friday night. We go to Graders, and
Oh, yeah,
then
the ice cream place.
so then there's as we go out, there's always this homeless guy standing at the red light where we have to go. So I always make sure we have a 20 for him. Now I have
Yeah,
no idea. A guy could be a millionaire and he's
yeah,
just standing there at the sign, but he looks legitimate enough for me that I'm going to give him money because why not?
yeah. Because why not is a real solid way of thinking about it, because you feel good, you've done it, and whatever he does with it, that's his choice.
Right.
You
We're not
can't
trying to control him.
resign your position as general manager of the universe.
Yeah.
Do what you can do, and then let them do what they want to do. Eventually, it'll take hold.
Who would want to be the general manager of the universe?
I don't know, maybe a politician,
Yeah, they all want that. That's true.
but
I when you see the presidents, except for this one, like he was already old and but you remember when Bush, like right after 9/11,
yeah,
and then his collar, it looked like he was wearing his dad's clothes because
right.
he was so stressed that his neck got really tiny and it looked like he was a turtle all the time because of that. And then Obama comes in after him. He's a young looking guy for about 12 months and then all of a sudden his hair turns gray. Like, who wants this job? It's terrible.
Tough
uh,
job.
Let him do it. He doesn't even make that much money in that role, right?
Well, they seem to be able to do okay there.
Afterwards.
Yeah, I think they set their plan while they're there, and then they cash in when they're done.
Yeah, for sure. They were
Um,
worth a million, the Obamas, and now they're like 170 or something.
yeah,
How do you do that?
you sell a book that no one reads.
Yeah, I think I've done that on one book.
But I'll tell you, uh, we talk to my listener. We refer to them as diehards, but it's one
And
listener at a time, so I address them individually. So you, diehard, are getting a lesson in Anthony and mine's friendship over an extended period of time, Anthony and mine's mutual respect for one another, and our mutual likes and dislikes. It's we are of the same ilk. We're both rock and rollers. We both smoked a pound of dope to a given song. We can name our own songs. They're probably a little bit different, but I'd love to change the world. Alvin Lee is one of mine, and of course, Stairway to Heaven when it first came out. But Mississippi Queen was an anthem in my house. And then,
Leslie West.
yeah, and then I discovered ELO, and my whole world changed because the Move preceded them, and then Jeff Lynne, and then just absolute amazing music.
Jeff Lynne was probably the person that studied the Beatles
Oh yeah.
more than anyone. Like he got it like immediately. Like, I know how to do this now.
Okay, so here's a brag. I apologize, but it's a brag. Jeff Lynne is sitting in my living room and we're sitting down talking about music. And he was unequivocally, he said, "Oh, the Beatles changed everything."
Yeah.
And he became friends with all of them as a result of it. They all respected the hell out of what he did, and did the Traveling Wilburys with George Harrison.
He's
And
just a hell of a great songwriter.
yeah,
Like, he's got melody, he's got harmony, like everything works together. It's an amazing band.
so I'll give you something you can relate to. Maybe the diehard cannot, but too bad. I go to their concerts and I'm on the stage, or I'm just left of stage, or I'm in the front of this in no man's land, and the violin will play a solo and they all kind of walk off. That's when I want to talk to them. Like, what are you thinking about? Are you thinking about doing the girl in the front row? Are you thinking about writing a song? And Lynn's comment to me one day was, when the audience is into it, we're into it. Like,
That's
they're
right.
looking for that feedback response to say, come on, play your heart out. Come on, do your best.
I
And
took my wife to see the Eagles a second time. I took her in Tampa. We were at Longboat Key, and I said, "Do you want to see the Eagles?" And she said, "Yeah." I didn't tell her it was in Tampa. And then so she didn't really want to do that drive, but we went up, and she was unhappy the whole way. And
oh
then
yeah,
after the show, she said, "That's the greatest band I've ever seen. I've never seen a better concert." And I said, "I know." They did the Hotel California album. And then when they were done, Don Henley came out and said, "We're going to give you 15 minutes. We're going to change clothes. And then we're going to play for another 2 hours and 40 minutes because we can." And
cool.
and we were there till probably 11:30. So we decided to go to Cleveland. Steely Dan was supposed to be opening for the Eagles, but he had a surgery the same day that we were there. So they brought in the Steve Miller Band.
Love them.
And Steve Miller is 80 years old, and he shreds the guitar like he's 22 years old, and his voice is great. And you know every song except one. There's like one song that you wouldn't know, something about honey and something about Colorado or something. But
Yeah,
every other one, everybody's standing up the whole time while he's
yeah,
playing.
oh yeah,
And you're like, wow, like you know every word to every song that he has except for that one that he has that I didn't know. It was amazing. And everybody was stunned at just how good this guy was. And then you have the Eagles after that for about
right.
2 hours and 40 minutes. It's amazing. So those are just great experiences.
In the early days of rock and roll, the Who never had an opening act because they just wanted to play longer. And I was privileged to see them several times with Keith Moon, and they're amazing. They're an amazing band because they write their own music, they perform their own music, and they
Townsend
do
does all
rock
that.
opera, huh?
Townsend writes all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they did the rock opera in the middle of their concert. That's how long the concert was, and it's wonderful to watch. I got to watch Pink Floyd.
When I was playing rock and roll, I started playing rock and roll when I was 15. I played all the way till I was 26 years old. When we started headlining and we could get 1,000 people to show up wherever we went, sometimes 2,000 people if we had another band with us, I decided that we were going to open for the group that was supposed to be opening for us because I didn't want to leave at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I'm like, we're going on at 10. You go on at
Right,
12.
right.
Have a good night, gents. We're out. I'm not staying there until that late at night. And they were like, "You're gonna let us go after you? Please do. We have a whole bunch of people, or we're gonna go have a party somewhere. You're gonna be still trying to get your equipment out of this place."
Right. Yeah, that's
That's how
true.
it worked.
The one thing that's consistent about every rock and roll concert that I've been to, and I've been to way more than I can count, they never start on time. You show me a concert, I'll show you something that starts minimum 15 minutes late, sometimes an hour and a half.
Unless it's Axl Rose in Guns N' Roses, because sometimes he was not there for 3 hours. They'd make people sit and wait.
Yeah, that's bullshit, but it is what it
Me
is.
too.
Yeah. The Isley Brothers never showed up sometimes. But it affects your life. And I apologize for this diatribe, you guys, but I'm only challenging you with this. Pay attention to music because it is the memory maker of your life. It's your first date, it's your first kiss, it's your first wife. And be aware of the fact that it'll take you back wherever you want to go, whenever you want to go there. Okay, back on to random acts of kindness, and then we're going to call it a day.
Sounds good.
I think that it's one of the most and this is, let me remind you again, this is Anthony's book. It's called The Negativity Fast. And I came with an idea that I want to do a book together with Anthony, because if he uses my title, I'm going to have to go to Columbus, Ohio, and then immediately turn around and go back home. But you need to have the positivity feast.
Yeah.
It's an obvious one. And my mug today, in honor of Anthony, is yes, a wonderful alternative to no. I even have my own name on the mug.
I couldn't read it. It's too tiny. You should have a bigger. Oh, there we
Bigger,
go.
yeah, no, I don't need. I'm fine with that.
Can you
It has
just
my,
be?
it has my
Couldn't you?
title on the back of it.
Couldn't you just put
It
GIT? Isn't that enough? Doesn't
could, it,
everybody already know?
it could be. It
Yeah.
could very well be. But we each have been impacted significantly by negative and positive in our lives, whether it's the death of a parent or some kind of medical situation that threatens your life. You certainly get to see who loves you. You certainly you gather friends. Um, one of my daughters has MS, and I can tell you, it has been a family bonding situation where we all go and try to take care of her as much as we possibly can. But not, I'm here to take care of you. I'm just here to show you some love.
Yeah.
By the way, you need, what do you need done? But I think that each of you diehards needs to understand that in the negativity fast, you just have to turn off the fucking television and get on with your life.
Right.
If you're going to scroll, then put an alarm clock on your scroller. So you can only scroll for 15 minutes. That's enough. It's totally enough. Unless, of course, your algorithm is for lead guitar players, and then at least make it 20.
Am I allowed to say something personal about you with this group listening?
Sure.
So everybody knows Gitomer. Everybody. And everybody that I know knows Gitomer because he's just he's at the top of the stack. He's been there forever, and he always will be. And when he dies, I'm going to take all of his books and I'm going to repackage them with my name on them for sure. He can count on that. I'm going to pretend that they were mine. But I want to tell you, I stayed at his home with him. Okay. I was his guest. And he is the greatest host. He's so concerned on making sure that everybody is happy. This guy who sometimes you go like, he's a little gruff. Okay. Occasionally. Yeah. He's a Philly boy. So you could expect that, right? But he's such a great host. He even came and woke me up at about 4:30 in the morning so that we could go get bagels. And I'm just telling you, like, when I was there, I was like, I feel like I'm at a really nice hotel. I mean, everybody's trying to make sure that it's good here. And it was great. So I just want people to know they don't know that part of you, but I do. And he's just a true gentleman, great sense of humor, has a whole bunch of books I'll probably steal from him next time I'm in his house.
Well, there's a, metal detectors. We have a paper detector.
Oh, yeah. If any paper goes through a door,
Right,
alarms go out.
Alarms goes off. Yeah. Thank you, Anthony. The reason I'm a good host is that my mom and dad were great hosts. They're great entertainers. But if you stay in hotels more than 1,000 nights, and you and I have stayed in hotels thousands of nights, you know what you want and you know what you don't want. And I'm pretty easygoing in a hotel unless something goes wrong, and then I'm a dick.
Yeah, you're a Philly boy.
Yeah. Well, I identify as a dick because that's my gender and my personality rolled into one in a bad situation. But I think that you give what you want to get.
Yeah.
And I think that marks who you are as a person. My mom taught me to be mannerly because she was mannerly. And you're forever grateful for what your parents did. They don't become really smart in your mind until after they pass, and you can't bring them back for an hour going, man, am I ever so fucking grateful for you and everything you've done.
Yeah. That's back to that Monday thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But there's pretty interestingly, the manga books, the Japanese cartoon books.
Yep.
There's a series called Orange, which was introduced to me by my daughter, who was 11 or 12 at the time. They're the #1 New York Times bestseller list. how do you get to be a Japanese cartoon book, #1 New York Times bestseller? And the answer is the book has a theme. And the theme is no regrets. That everything you do, you don't want to regret what you didn't do or what you could have done or who you should have been with. All of those things made it a #1 New York Times bestseller. It was absolutely unbelievable. You knew the characters by the end of the 3rd book.
Did you follow Christopher Hitchens?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when he found out he had esophageal cancer, he was still writing for Vanity Fair, and he wrote a piece in there about choosing your future regrets. Like you have to go and
I'll do that.
Yeah, you have to decide, like, what do I want to regret at the end, and make those choices. And then when he was asked if he would have stopped drinking and smoking, if he would have known that he was going to get esophageal cancer, his dad died of esophageal cancer too, and he said, I probably would have slowed down a little bit.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I'll quit. I can quit anytime I want. I just don't want to quit right now.
Yeah.
That's the hue and cry of every addict.
This is my favorite Hitchens thing that I can say out loud. He said, if you have a dog and you feed it and you walk it and you pet it and you take care of that dog thinks you're God. If you have a cat and you feed it and you clean it and you take care of that cat, it thinks it's a God.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the difference between dogs and cats.
Exactly. I was living in an apartment when I first moved to Charlotte, and a kid who was running sales for me, I had to leave for like 2 weeks. And I said, why don't you, instead of living in the dorm, come live in my apartment and take care of the cat? And New Yorkers have a way of doing things that's unlike anybody else. They don't give a shit about anything or anyone except themselves. I come back home, I go, Art, did you pet the cat? He goes like this, once.
That's funny.
That defines a New Yorker. It totally defines.
Yeah, once. There you go. You've been pet.
Exactly. And by the way, if you go to the Algonquin Hotel on 44th Street between 5th and 6th, they have a cat, Matilda. It's like the 5th Matilda that they've had there. And when I go to New York, I eat at this place called the Red Flame, which is the best salami and eggs in New York City. It's on 44th Street, right next to the Algonquin. Same bellman for 30 years.
Wow.
I go say hello to these guys. Hey, how you doing? It's unbelievable how you can make a casual friend and they don't go away. They literally do not go away, especially in Europe. Much more friend oriented, and it's not a matter of random act of kindness. It's a matter of just being.
Well, when you start talking about New York, that's one of the few places on earth where F you means good morning, and and everybody just goes, yeah. F you too.
How the fuck are you doing? It's unreal. It literally is unreal.
Like nobody's mad at you.
No one said, I would appreciate it if you didn't, use that language. Are you kidding me? said no one.
Are you effing me?
Yeah.
I went to John Barbados' place, and I was trying to figure out how to get to the dinner that I was supposed to be at while I was going to be doing a keynote. And I said, how do I get there? And the guy goes, how the F do you not know how to get there?
Right, exactly.
And I said, I live in Columbus, Ohio. And he goes, I thought you were a New Yorker.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm direct enough to be one, but I still don't know how to get there. How do I get there? And he's like, okay. And he gave me directions, but it's like, they think I'm a New Yorker when I'm there.
That's lovely.
But
That's a great compliment.
It's the directness.
Yeah. I think you have to be at home any place you go.
Yeah.
You have to feel at home any place you go. And when you came to my place, my goal was make you feel at home.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
And now everybody's going to want to come and stay overnight with.
Yeah, you can.
Maybe there's maybe there's an offer in this thing. Like,
let's go.
Spend a night with Gitomer. No, not
Weekend
like
at the
that.
library. Weekend at the library.
Weekend at the library. Okay.
We'll do 10 people for $5,000 a pop.
Sounds
And I'll
good.
bring a couple of guest speakers. But
He
the
does though, just so you know, before you get there, he wears those pajamas that have like the feet in them, just so you know. I don't want you to be.
some have feet, some do not. That's so funny. So we're going to end this, but Anthony has several other books that just go to, if you find the Negativity Fast, look for the other books that are by Anthony. But he's got one about eating, and he's got one about selling, and you need to, one about competition, and you need to understand that his books are readable and actionable, and I would challenge you to go do that. He's also hireable. So if are you thinking about, you're having a meeting and you can't afford me, Anthony is your guy, because you're way cheaper than me, right?
Yeah, everybody's way cheaper than you. That's just true.
But the challenge is, I just love talking to Anthony. We're going to have him back to do another thing on Negativity Fast, because I'm hoping that he'll say, hey, let's do that positivity feast. Because I think it's the right thing to do. I think it's the perfect complement.
The other thing that's been bothering me now that I've done this is that every person that has said something about this book that read it, they said, I want my kids to read that. And then I was like, do I have to do Negativity Fast for teens or something like that? Wouldn't you, if you could go back to like 8th grade and somebody could give you these kind of strategies?
Yeah.
I mean, it would be good going into high school, like having some of that.
If you would just record the book in your voice and give tips at the end of each thing for a teenager, you win. You don't have to write it for them. Just talk to them about it, because that's what they want to hear. They're TikTokers. They're not readers.
Yeah, that's true. I'm gonna have to do 72,000 TikToks.
Well, it's okay. What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
Yeah. Just to let you know what the world is like, and I don't know whether I've told you this or not. My 14-year-old daughter is a Taylor Swift fan. Like,
right.
If you've never been to the movie, you got to go. You have to go. It is compelling as a movie, and the audience is uber compelling, because they know every word to every song and they're going wild.
My wife said that they go down in front of the screen and dance and stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh, they're all over the place. It's unbelievable. But I got a text from her 3 Sundays ago, because she's going out with Travis Kelce from the Chiefs.
Right.
And I get a text from Gabrielle saying, I'm watching the Taylor Swift game.
Now it's Taylor Swift's game now. Wow. She's got her guy in there.
Come on. That is the impact of this woman.
The only thing that you don't want to have happen on your date with Taylor is she starts writing down
a song.
Exactly. Once she starts writing that song,
wait, let me get that
straight. It's over, right?
Hey, exactly. But she can write and she can perform.
Since she was a kid.
Yeah, she's an artist, and she's really, really good. So I'm challenging you, diehard.
Jeb and Carrie went and saw her. They loved it. He said it was amazing. They went and saw, not the movie, they went and saw Taylor.
Yeah. Yeah, she's off the chart. Anyway, Anthony, a pleasure. As always. Thank you. My people will call your people. Diehards, go out and make a sale, even if your ass falls off. And stay away from idiots. Totally appreciate you, Anthony. Totally appreciate you. My people will call your people.
Okay.
And they'll do it damn soon.